Perfect. So welcome to Saturday, June 10th call. And I was just sharing that depending on what's going on with the group, that we might, for July and August, we might not do weekends because people are busy weekends. And so I'm happy to be here if we have the majority of the group here. So just kind of an FYI, and I won't make that decision, right? We the people, right? You'll be part of the decision-making process, and also, right, I'll just follow what my guides say, but I'm just sharing that with you. It's so the thought's been in and out of my auric field for probably since May long weekend, but just giving everyone a heads up that we might move to that. We'll see what happens, right? I don't feel like the decision needs to be made today. So what I wanted to share today was a couple of different things. This morning, it was the first thought that came through was to talk a little bit about business strategy. And so in business, we've talked about there's three pillars, right? There's the marketing pillar, there's a sales pillar, and then there's an operations pillar. And every part of business will fall under one of those pillars. And if we were doing it in order, right, of, I would say, importance in the terms of using like the principle of relativity, it would be marketing's first, and then of course sales, and then operations. And so if we looked at marketing and we put, I guess, a spin on it and put a couple of different like spins. So one being, what if we looked at marketing, from the perspective of metaphysical marketing? So we're bringing in sacred commerce into this. We're bringing sacred love. So sacred commerce would be part of sales. Sacred love could be part of your business practices. And what would that look like for all of you if you changed how you viewed marketing? And so when we do marketing, the purpose of doing marketing is because we're wanting to create interest in what we're doing in our business, or in even if we were just promoting another brand, as an example. So if you have a direct sales, you're part of a direct sales company, right? Using that brand as a vehicle to what you want to create. So we I think are all in awareness and have accepted that the first step is the visualization of what you want to create, like what you want your life to look like and what you want your business to look like. Meaning, when I say look like, what does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it like? Bringing our five senses into it, including the possibility of what revenue you would like to create. So it all starts with that, and then we can move into, okay, great. So if this is what is desired, if this is what my business wants, right? So my business wants to look like this, and then the next step would be how to create interest, right? That's just that's the natural next step. How do we create interest? And so if we take a look at everything that we're doing in out there, I use that word, or promoting things out there, because part of marketing is promotions, is talking about what we're doing, sharing what we're doing. Consistency is important. Now, I don't believe that there's a magic formula for marketing, or magic formula on, let's say, Facebook as an example, or LinkedIn. It doesn't really matter what social platform we're talking about. I do know that because there are billions of users on each platform, there is an algorithm, right? When we all know this, there's an algorithm that's been created so that each user does not receive thousands of in their feed, thousands of promotions or thousands of like posts, let's say that. So I think I have like 5,000 people maybe that I'm connected to on Facebook, or 3,000. I know it's above 3,000. So imagine this user receiving 5,000 like, posts in her feed. It wouldn't, right? It's not going to happen. So there has to be an algorithm. And so you could post, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, and the same person is not going to see all of those posts. Now, if you have a raving fan who likes or actually loves and comments on all of your posts, then they'll see a majority of your posts, but they're not even going to see all of the posts. So you can't overpost on any of the platforms. So that is that's your ego, right, telling you to kind of settle down, to keep you, I would say, to keep you limited. I'll use those words. So if we understand the algorithms, and LinkedIn is the same. They're all the same. Twitter, Instagram, like whatever platform you decide that you want to use. So if you're wanting to create interest in your business, in what you're doing, then consistent posting is important, and posting more than once a day, is important. Right? So, because you might have 10 or 15, sometimes you'll have more, like, if you post personal things, at least on my feed, if I'm posting something personal, and I take a selfie and I look like a regular, like it's not a branded like a branded photo. My just everyday regular photos, I have way more engagement on my personal feed than if I have a pretty picture up and talking. So it's also about measuring what your audience is responding to, but being aware, is the audience that's responding to those posts, is that your ideal client? Because you, like my Facebook feed is full of both like family and friends and people I've met or people I've connected with, and not all of them are my ideal clients. They're like connections, but they're not looking for what I do. And so what about for you? Is that what your feed looks like, right? And you'll probably see, at least in my feed, I see lots of people downsizing the amount of people they're connected to because they never see their posts, and that person's never engaged either. And so there's lots of different strategies you can use, but I'm going to go back to this awareness of, if you want to create business, right? You want to manifest business from a marketing funnel, marketing tool, right? The way the way to go about doing that is to be consistent in posting, right? And that might make some people super uncomfortable. And so then the opportunity then you have is to look at what's uncomfortable, about that. What creates the discomfort. And that's where, of course, we know that's where the limiting beliefs are. And so when you, from a marketing perspective, and, if I put my marketing agency hat on, when we're creating a funnel, right, we talked about, is there maybe a different word, right? Well, we could create a marketing infinity symbol, right? Right. So we could maybe create something that the frequency of the infinity symbol from a marketing perspective. And so, but the steps would be the same, right? It's creating interest. And once someone has enough interest, and sometimes, even let me step back before that, sometimes people even need to discover you, right? So you might be connected on LinkedIn or connected on Facebook, but there was no conversation, right? So they need to actually discover you, and then you're creating interest. And then there's an engagement piece to it. And after engagement, for your ideal client who sees what you're offering, right, who sees who you are, how you're showing up, then they might move to like a purchasing place. And then after that is how do you retain, how do you retain the audience that you have? How do you grow your audience? How do you retain, your clients? How do you grow your clients? And so that's really what a marketing funnel is all about. And then in business, then you have a sales journey. So what does the sales journey look like for your ideal client? And so these are key components of a business. And then the operations piece is just basically, what do you want your clients to experience, right? That's, from that perspective. And then you create a journey, a client journey, right? So there's a sales journey, there's a client journey, and then there's like the marketing, we'll say like the marketing journey. And I think if we look at it from less of a funnel perspective, but more of a journey, right? What path do you want your potential audience to take, right? What do you want to share about who you are and what you do? And don't be afraid to share a lot, because there's some people have this fear that if they share too much, then people won't want to hire them. And the opposite is often true, right? So if you share big, and then people will be able to experience you, because it really is the experience part, right? During the Clarity Conference Connection Summit, Samantha, Candace, and I were talking, and Samantha is working with this really cool marketing coach. And so the coach asked Samantha, what paradigms do you shift in your business? And this isn't something that I think people can understand or get to right away, but what paradigms do you shift? And so we were talking about the paradigms that each one of us shifts. And I got all caught up in my head, and and spent a few minutes feeling really sorry for myself, and then realized as we were talking, I said, there's this statement out in the world of sales that someone has to know, like, and trust you before they purchase. And I said, that's bullshit. And so that's what we're talking about, a paradigm shift. So most people will tell you that people need to know, like, and trust you before you purchase. And here's why that's wrong. And so here's why that's wrong is that people don't need to know, like, or trust you in order to purchase, right? Think about the last thing that you bought, right? Did you know the person you bought it from? And this could be like, I don't know, Dairy Queen. Like I ordered a keto pizza yesterday. I ordered it from Red Swan Pizza here in Red Deer. I don't know the owner. I don't know the company. So I can't really trust them. I can't say that I like them, but I had a problem. I was hungry and I was by myself and I wanted something. I wanted pizza, but I'm not eating wheat at the moment. So I have a specific need of a keto pizza or a cauliflower crust. So I Googled that and then I ordered my pizza. And so how many times have you bought something, not because like, or trust them, but your brain is telling you that you trust them or that you know them, right? So let's use another, like BioSteel is a powder that I put in my electrolyte powder that I put in my drinks. I've been doing it for years now. Yeah, almost, I guess just over a year. And then they can also come in packages like this, right? They're now endorsing the hockey and NHL. So people are, their sales have like, you know, massively increased since they're endorsing, I think, a couple other sports, golf, I think now as well. So people aren't buying BioSteel because they know, like, or trust them. That's the bullshit story. They're buying it because it's fucking everywhere. Right? It was like when Gatorade first came out, right? It's everywhere. So how can you create a business where maybe it's not quite as big as BioSteel in the sense of it's everywhere, like everywhere you turn, but that's really what this is about. It's about being consistent enough that people are like, everywhere I go, there she is, right? The best compliment that you can get is someone who private messages you or emails you and says, you need to stop sending so much stuff, because everywhere you go, everywhere I go, there you are. Like, that's the best compliment ever. That's what, when I had the sales and marketing agency, that's what we strived to do. We strived to saturate the market to a place where we would receive 2 or 3 complaints, and we knew that we had saturated the market enough, and we would back up just a little bit, right? And so that's really what we're wanting to do, is to share our messages over and over and over again. And are you doing that, right? And then there's the psychological piece, which is, you know, you're solving a problem, you have a solution, you're solving the problem. And so talking about the problems that you solve or the solutions that you offer while giving great content. So it's not about, right? And it's not about promoting yourself, but it's about, what are the things that you know, right? That you could share to help people brighten their day, make their day better. What would those pieces look like? And it's okay to promote yourself. It's okay to promote what you're doing, but what would that look like for you? And so, and then sitting down with that, right? And sharing. Now, you don't have to have a call to action on every post. Like, I'm not that, from a marketing perspective, that doesn't fit in with everyone's human design. So it's like, if you feel called to put in a call to action on a post, then do that. And so so that's the first part that I want to talk about, was this piece of our businesses and making the decision to, if we're going to grow the business, these are the pillars that are there, right? There is no other way to grow a business other than marketing, sales, and operations. Like, that's it. Those are the only 3 pieces, right? And marketing is simply you know, promotions, networking, advertising, right? Public relations. That's marketing, right? And so then we go into specifically content marketing. Content marketing is, what content are you creating to promote, right, yourself, your business? And so in the world of online, where most people are building their businesses from a chair in their office, and so the networking is still important, right? Conversation, communication, you know, relationship building is still important. So how can you do that? Through your content and through taking inspired action. So this is when we talk about having like a lead magnet, having a downloadable something or other. And it doesn't have to be really complicated. It can be a really simple thing. It can be a checklist. It can be an ebook. It can be a quiz. It can be so many things. And then through that, then people download that, and then you capture their email. And then you create a relationship by writing a nurturing email sequence. And it's so much easier if you can use, or at least it has been for me, with chat, because chat through the prompts that I use has mimicked my voice. So I can write an email sequence. An example would be, I have Sacred Art of Business downloadable that I created a couple weeks ago. And it's a guidebook on creating on what a sacred art of business is, a sacred business is. And then yesterday I had Chat create a nurturing email sequence. So I told Chat exactly what I was looking for, with the voice that I wanted, with the prompts that I use, and it created a 16-part or 16 emails from this guidebook, right? And so even if you don't want to use Chat, the strategy to do that is, so this particular book talked about the 3 pillars: marketing, sales, operations. And then I did a bonus of the profit formula, which is another 3 steps. So basically there's 7 points in that workbook that would be important for people to know, to remember, to integrate into their life. And each of those points, you can take and write 2, they're short emails, write 2 emails from each of those points. And then there's a welcome email in the beginning. And then there's like kind of like the last email in the sequence of this particular first sequence. So there's like the end. So there's 16 emails. And so we don't want to underestimate the importance of email marketing and creating campaigns in order to do that. And, you know, it's creating content to share is time consuming in the sense of it will take you time. But to be honest with you, when you're starting your business, or even not even starting, but in your business, that's the majority of the time. When you actually, I'll go back to when you're starting a business, the majority of the time is spent on creating content to engage your prospects, to create leads. Like I would say 60% or 70% of your time can be, I was trying to think of another word other than should, right? Because not shoulding on anyone, but it would be that this is kind of like the opportunity. And so, well, I don't need that on, thank you, sweetie pie. And so then, so you take that, and then, so that's 60 to 70% of your time. As you build your business and you have more clients, the time factor will be the same, and there'll be a tipping point when you have, you know, enough clients or more clients, where then you can't physically do that without extending your hours in business. And then you get to make a decision. Do you move into more automation? Do you repurpose the content that you've already had? Like that's the tipping point in the business through the growth, and that we can have that conversation another day. So, you know, I hear often that, you know, marketing is hard or business is hard, and it's not. We complicate it. Like the human being, the ego, the I complicates it because of our beliefs, right? That's what complicates it. The business part is simple, right? If you're wanting more clients, then you need to create, right, a marketing strategy, and a funnel should be part of that, with tactics behind it that feel good to you, that resonate with you, that are along your human design, right? And so, and follow your human design like that. I think that's a key, you know, I believe that's a key factor in it. And then take inspired action, and then be consistent in the inspired action. And that's I see, the observer in me sees the most difficult piece is self-promotion, right? And so then if we can reframe that you're not promoting yourself, right? You're promoting a brand, you're promoting your business. So we can reframe it a little bit that way, of from that perspective, right? You're not promoting yourself, you're promoting a brand, you're promoting your business, which is attached to you, it's connected to you, it's energetically part of you. There's that piece to it, one. And then understanding the beliefs behind why that's not possible, or why that feels icky, or why that feels heavy for you. And then working on the belief system behind it. And that's, I would say, that's where the work is. That part of it. That part of it is where the work is, because we're unpacking and uncovering, all the time. Yesterday, I'll end with this story. Yesterday, I was speaking to one of my coaches, and she was saying that she feels I should go to Jordan Peterson's website. I'd not heard of Jordan Peterson. I heard the name, but I didn't know who it was, and follow his business model, or parts of his business model. And I went to the site, and my very first thought was, I don't know how to do that. And then I laughed, right? Because I was like, oh, well, look at you being all resistance. And I looked at it, and I really, really struggled with it. I had a great opportunity to sit with myself and say, well, why not me? If he can do it, why not me? What parts of me are in resistance to creating a business model this big, right? So why not me? And that's I think that's where the work is, because we do that. We limit ourselves. So why not you? What kind of business life do you want to create? And why not you? And have this opportunity to play. And can we look at it from a place of playfulness, right? Marketing is simply a really one big experiment. And if you ever did a science, if you ever did an experiment in science where you did all these things and you observed what happened, right? And then you wrote down the results, and then you made it. Then your teacher or professor would say, okay, knowing what you observed, right? What would you do differently next time to get a different result, or to get the result that you wanted? And that's what marketing is. That's simply that's all that it is. And we can have so much fun with it if we can detach away from it. All right. I think that's all that I have to share. I thought I had a different point, but we spent more time on marketing. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks everyone for listening.